Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. A man stumbles through the scorching California desert, his lungs burning with each breath. He knows he's dying. But in his pocket is a secret worth dying for, a crude map and a sample of gold that would be worth over $4,000 in today's money, panned from a single sack of red earth. The year is 1876, and he's just made one of the richest surface gold discoveries in the Colorado Desert's history. The catch? Only one other person would ever know the location, and both men would vanish into the desert winds, taking their secrets with them. Welcome to Southwest Desert, where today we're diving into one of the Southwest's most tantalizing lost treasure stories. This isn't your typical tall tale born in a saloon or conjured up around a campfire. This is the story of Slim's lost gold, a mystery anchored in real places, verified by reliable witnesses, and backed by physical evidence that has left seasoned prospectors convinced of its truth. The story begins at Mesquite Diggings, one of the last great gold placer discoveries in the Colorado Desert. Nestled at the southern edge of the Chocolate Mountains, just northeast of the Southern Pacific Railroad station of Glamis, these diggings were producing the kind of returns that made men's eyes gleam with fever. The year was 1876, and a prospector named Felisario Parra had just struck it rich, unleashing a mini-gold rush that would draw fortune seekers from across the West. Among these prospectors was Tom Clark, but Clark was no ordinary desert rat. He was an educated man, someone who would later help pioneer the Palo Verde Valley and dig its first irrigation canal. In the diggings, Clark was pulling in $80 to $90 in gold each day, equivalent to several $1,000s in modern money. But more important than his success was his reputation. Every person who knew Tom Clark said the same thing. His word was as good as gold itself. It was during this boom time that fate dropped a stranger onto the platform at Glamis Station. History never recorded his real name. He became known simply as Slim, and he arrived with nothing but the clothes on his back and a death sentence in his lungs. Slim was what they called a lunger back then, a tuberculosis patient sent west by doctors who had run out of options. The prescription was simple: desert heat, dry air, and prayer. But Slim wasn't ready to lie down and die. Making his way to Mesquite Diggings, he caught gold fever. That's where he met Tom Clark, and this is where our story takes its first dramatic turn. Clark, flush with his own success and known for his generous heart, did something remarkable. He pulled out two $20 gold pieces, a small fortune in those days, and handed them to this stranger. "These," Clark told him, "will buy you a prospecting outfit and grub to last you quite a while. There are sure to be undiscovered placers left in this big desert, maybe farther up along the Chocolates. Sunshine and air and the right amount of work will help you. Go out and see what you can find." With this grub stake, Slim began an epic journey that would become desert legend. He followed the magnificent Chocolate Mountains northwest, making a series of stops that we can still trace today. First was Hyden Well, then Salvation Spring, names that hint at the desert's merciless nature. Eventually, he made it to Chuckawalla Well at the base of the Little Chuckawallas, where his burros found the water so sweet they refused to leave. The journey wasn't easy. At one point, his burros escaped back to Chuckawalla Well, forcing Slim to chase them down, an exertion that would prove fateful. But it was at Tabaseka Tank, near the western tip of the Chocolates, where destiny and tragedy began their final dance. Weakened by his chase after the burros and feeling his illness gaining ground, Slim made a desperate decision. He would try to reach Dos Palmas Oasis, less than 20 miles away and closer to civilization. He chose an old Indian trail that he hoped would provide the most direct route. But here's where the story takes its most extraordinary turn. Somewhere along that trail, while crossing an elevation, Slim sat down to rest. Looking around, he noticed something about the earth. It had a distinctive red color. In that moment, all the stories he'd heard at Mesquite Diggings came flooding back. The old-timers had told him that gold sometimes occurred in such red earth. Despite his weakened condition, Slim filled a sack with the red earth and somehow managed to load it onto one of his burros. When he finally staggered into Dos Palmas, he found several other prospectors camped there. What happened next would become the stuff of legend. That single sack of red earth yielded $120 in gold, an almost unheard-of concentration. But Slim knew he was dying, in what would prove to be his final days. He drew a crude map of his discovery's location and sent it to Tom Clark along with $40 worth of the gold, repayment for the grub stake he'd been given. When Clark learned of Slim's condition, he immediately set out for Dos Palmas. But he arrived too late. Slim had already passed away and been buried. Among his possessions was another $80 in desert-burned gold from that same red earth, physical proof of his incredible discovery. But the story doesn't end there. It takes an even darker turn. Years later, after Clark had settled in the Palo Verde Valley, his home was broken into and searched 3 separate times. Clark believed the burglars were hunting for Slim's map, leading him to conclude that the dying man must have told other prospectors at Dos Palmas about sending it to him. For decades, Clark kept the secret. He finally shared it in the winter of 1938 with Ed Rochester and Earl Kerr at the old camp of Picasso. Even then, he would only discuss it when they were completely alone, taking nearly 2 weeks of interrupted sessions to tell the complete tale. Then came the final mystery. In 1941, Clark was 84 years old. One warm summer day, he left his home at Quayansebe Point on the Colorado River, boarded a bus in Blythe bound for Los Angeles to visit relatives and friends, and vanished completely. With him disappeared the crude map, the only physical clue to this rich gold deposit somewhere near the old Bradshaw Trail. What makes this story different from other lost mine tales is its precise geography. The gold must lie somewhere between Tabaseka Tank and Dos Palmas Oasis, along an old Indian trail that crosses an elevation with distinctively red earth. All the locations mentioned, Dos Palmas, Tabaseka Tank, Canyon Springs, Coyote Holes, and Chuckawalla Well, were watering places along the historic Bradshaw Trail, mostly near Salt Creek Wash. The Bradshaw Trail itself is a piece of living history, opened in 1862 during the La Paz, Arizona gold rush. While much of it can still be followed today by four-wheel drive vehicles, searching for Slim's gold has become complicated by modern restrictions. Much of the area now lies within military gunnery ranges, making systematic exploration challenging at best. But the evidence for this lost bonanza is compelling. Those who knew Tom Clark were unanimous about his character. Al Combs, one of Clark's neighbors at Quayansebe Point, put it most emphatically. "If old Tom Clark told me anything, I would just lift up one hand and swear it was true." His wife Arlena agreed, simply stating, "He was a truthful old man." Yet the gold remains hidden, protected by the harsh desert environment and modern military restrictions. The area north of the Bradshaw Trail where the gold could be located is relatively narrow, but it's a maze of hills, ridges, canyons, mesas, and washes. Each fold in the earth could hide Slim's discovery. Perhaps that's fitting. The desert has always kept its secrets close, revealing them only to those who respect its harsh rules and unforgiving nature. Somewhere out there, between ancient waterholes and crossing forgotten Indian trails, lies a patch of red earth that once yielded $120 in gold from a single sack. The map may be lost, but the gold remains, waiting for someone to rediscover Slim's final gift to the desert. And who knows? Maybe someday, someone will be walking an old Indian trail between Tabaseca Tank and Dos Palmas, rest on a rise just as Slim did, and notice the distinctive red color of the earth beneath their feet. Until then, it remains one of the desert's most tantalizing mysteries, a story of generosity, hope, and gold, waiting to be rediscovered. This has been Southwest Desert. Join us next time for another tale of the American Southwest hidden history. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another lost gold story. Check out my large Southwest video and playlist catalog on lost historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.